This is another karma story. It's also a hitchhiking story, but I'm going to just talk about, bridges. Okay. So it's kind of a boring topic, but when you're out there hitchhiking, I always say, could you let me off underneath that bridge? Yeah. Um, so, in terms of karma, I have to thank President Eisenhower again. Let me put up a photo here. He signed the first interstate highway system. It was actually based on World War II, just a little history, because he was impressed with Germany and how they could move things around for war. And so it was a National Defense Highway Act, I believe. But at any rate, I 80, I've hitchhiked it many times, goes from the George Washington Bridge, New York City, okay, starts right there at the Hudson River and goes west to the Golden Gate Bridge in San Francisco. Straight as an arrow, great place to hitchhike. Um, but if it's raining, if it's hot, or basically any time, if it's late and you need a place to sleep or rest, I always say, yeah, could you stop underneath one of those bridges? So here, let me put a picture up here of one of the bridges and just kind of maybe I can point with my pointer. I guess not, but there's the concrete ramp that goes up there, and then there's a little ledge about 4 feet wide, so you can put a sleeping pad. I always had my dog there, so it was a nice little place. Sometimes you'd see a little bottle of whiskey down at the other end, and you'd kind of tip it up and to see if there was like a drop left in there. And you could tell there was kind of a kinship with fellow travelers that have come before you, kind of a respect. Um, Not a lot, but a little. I mean, not overwhelming, but okay, enough on that. All right, so what's the story? Now, um, when you're now, first of all, I just got to tell you, the current bridges, they've changed the design. Ike, President Eisenhower, he had the right design. You had a slope up, and then you have a little ledge, 4 foot ledge, and then the beams about another 4 feet high. So you had plenty of little room in there. Nice flat little spot. Uh, yes, it was noisy if you're on the interstate. And the trucks are going by at night when you're sleeping, you can certainly hear them. I mean, very, very loud. The rubber, what's worse, of course, if you're standing by the side of the road, especially in the desert, when they go, then it's like a big cloud of dust comes up. Ooh. So, at any rate, so people have asked me, don't you feel afraid sleeping under bridges? And I tell them, nothing bad ever happened to me under a bridge. A lot of things have happened to me, nothing under a bridge. Okay, now I'm always with my dog, but I don't think that's really the point. And I'll put up a picture here. There's always under a bridge cliff swallows. Um, in fact, even if you're in town and you see the swallows at dusk going around getting the insects, you look around, there'll be a bridge nearby where they nest. Also, pigeons. Okay, there's kind of they do the hoo 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 at night, so it's kind of soothing. You know. Um, okay, well, I don't want to make it too romantic, but um, there was a lot of sense of freedom underneath that bridge. But when you're on the road, you get hungry, thirsty, tired. So much for freedom. Sometimes it's not all that it's cracked up to be. Okay, so that's my story here. I would now. Does that mean I recommend for you to sleep under bridges? Absolutely not. Or hitchhike? Absolutely not. For myself, I'm not interested in sleeping under a bridge. But I will tell you one thing. Um, we perceive through a rearview mirror. By that, what I mean is we've trained our eyes and our mind to see certain things. Like I have a hunter's eye, and you go by a stream and a few little ducks up there on the in a little shallow spot. I see them, okay, and that's because I have a hunter's eye. I also, when I go under bridges, I would never miss if there was somebody up there at the bridge. In other words, I always monitor it, just second nature. Okay, so why am I telling you that? Um, well, I don't know, but um, I know when I was hitchhiking, that was in the 80s, they were saying, well, the hitchhiking days are over. That was the 60s. But, well, now I'm just rambling on and on. So I'm here in my robe. Look at this. I'm making videos at night, and not making a heck of a lot of money, but, I'm trying. Okay. So I'm going to put this on. I want my wife to see this. You know what I mean? Because what I'm going to do is I think I'm going to stand up here and I'll edit this out if it's too bad. This is for my wife. Well, okay, no, I don't have to do that. I was just kidding you. All right.